right, Rip City. I know you've been waiting for this episode because so far this season, as we've come back, we've brought the show back here. We've had Connor, we've had Adrian, Steve. You put up with a solo show by me, and now we have the doctor, Aaron Brown, is back on the show. Aaron, how are you doing?
Let's go. The Blazers season is here. I'm on the Rip City Roundtable. Life is good.
Life is good. I'm your host, Cory, as normal. Your shoot first point guard, and Aaron is our run the tip play and get Aaron an open layup forward. As that was, we ran it to near perfection in high school, so it was great. He is miss. That's okay. For people that don't know, Aaron and I have grown up together. Our whole life have grown up together. Been big Blazers fans. Gone through all of the misery during our lifetime. There's been some highlights for sure. Brandon Roy highlight, Arvydas Sabonis. Some Lillard in there. One trip to the conference finals. Two trips. I forgot the swept. Three trips. No, when we got first, okay, and then the Lakers debacle, and then the one in 19.
You're right.
So anyway, 3. They're so memorable, I forget. But anyway, we're here, Aaron. We're in the 2024-2025 season.
Yes.
As we record this here, Tuesday, November 12th, at 4:29 p.m. Central Texas time, because I'm in Texas and you're in Texas. Right. The Blazers sit 3 wins, 8 losses. I want to ask you, is that where you expected the team to be this year, 11 games in?
Yeah. I think we were expecting it. I don't know, sometimes you kind of hope that, they start off the season strong and then it kind of tapers off as the tanking begins, as we've done in previous seasons.
Yeah.
But the 3-8, I think that's almost exactly our win percentage from last year. If you break it down. So it's pretty much where we expected to be. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Do you think are you at this point, when you get excited, when you look at the standings, do you go to who's in first place, or do you go down to who are we competing to make sure we get a bottom 3 selection, or that we finish in the bottom third of the NBA this year? Where do you go?
I do check the bottom to see okay, who's got the most losses, fewest wins, I guess, is what I check. But it probably should be most losses. That's the more important one.
That is the most important. Yeah, that is sadly. I find myself, first off, we're in a fantasy basketball league. Are we in 2 together?
I think so. Yeah, I think you got on both. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're in 2 fantasy leagues together. So I first, I check the Blazers, and then I check my fantasy team, and then I check the Utah Jazz, the Toronto Raptors, the Detroit Pistons, and I'm making sure they're not winning, or that they are winning, so that we can drop to the bottom. I go to the bottom, Aaron. I'm right now I see New Orleans at 3-8, which we've beaten them once. Shame on us. And then I look at Philly, who's 2-7, which they're not going to be 2-7. I
think do we have 2 wins against New Orleans? Are they 2 of our 3 wins?
I thought we lost the second one. The third
one this week. We've played.
Did we beat them twice? No, we beat New Orleans, and then we beat
them on Monday. So I don't know.
The Clippers. We beat the Clippers. See, this is terrible that we don't even know.
No, then the third win is against New Orleans.
Oh, and it was the Pelicans twice. You're right. Sorry, we play them so many times.
It's crazy.
Well, yeah. Okay, New Orleans, and they're a mess right now. They don't have anybody.
Everyone's hurt.
Everybody's hurt. So Philly's not going to be 2-7 that pace. Ideally, Milwaukee, who's 2-8, which is just comical. However you feel about Lillard, it's kind of comical that they're 2-8, but they're not going to be at that pace the rest of the year. So really, we're looking at Utah here, Aaron, at 2-7, Toronto at 2-9, Washington at 2-7. That's who we're competing with right here, right? So,
and I think it's gonna be tough. Washington's they got nothing that. That's gonna be tough to catch them in the loss column. That's going to be tough.
We just got to be in the bottom 3. That's okay, because everybody gets even odds.
Well, and we got to remember it's a lottery. You don't have to be. Just ask Detroit about being the worst team in the league. You're not guaranteed anything.
No, you're totally not guaranteed anything. Like Atlanta last year, like they had such a small percentage to get the first pick, and then they did.
Right.
So, okay, so 3-8. You're not surprised. That's about where we thought we'd be.
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant started off this season, like the first 3 games was just tearing it up. I mean, 30 points, like just going wild. Really felt like it's either one of 2 ways, and I want to get your thoughts. Is Jeremy Grant playing because he just genuinely cares to be here, and he's like really like our only guy that's just like, hey man, just go score the ball? Or is he trying to showcase himself to potentially some trade partners?
That's a good question. I mean, just reading body language, that's kind of hard. I don't think Jeremy Grant, he's not like he doesn't wear his emotions on his sleeve much on the court. He seems pretty laid back. So that's hard to read. It could be probably a bit of both.
Sure.
I mean, if I'm projecting how I would handle this situation, I'd be like, I in a trade, but also wanting to just, he's getting paid, so he's going to go out and play and probably have some fun doing it. So
I just think Jeremy, like, I think he is genuinely like out there playing. I think he is that kind of guy. Like he goes to work, he kind of does his thing. I think the other side of the coin with this is Simons, is Anthony, because I do think there is something playing. Like he seems off. Like he knows something we don't know. Like
there's an effort that's not.
I don't want to say like effort per se. Like I don't want to like throw him under the bus in that way, but I just feel like there isn't. If this is me just reading into it, he doesn't seem like he's long for Portland, and I think he's just like mailing it in. Not that he's not showing effort, but I think he just doesn't care. Is that possible? Can you not care but still have effort, or are those both the same thing?
Yeah, I think so. It would just be like minimum effort, right? You wouldn't be getting maximum effort, but you're still getting effort.
You're still getting effort. Okay.
Yeah, but
because I don't want to like label him as somebody that doesn't show effort, but like he's
clearly out there playing. I mean, he's taken a lot of the workload and he's got the ball in his hands a lot. But I think there is. I don't know. I don't know how you. I don't know the word either. Like
this is what I know about Simons is he's a tremendous scorer. That's always what he's been. I remember covering games last season for Blazers Edge, and I actually, by the way, tonight against Minnesota, our first NBA Cup game.
Oh yeah,
will be the first. Will be the first game that I'll have write my analysis for. So be on the lookout for my article. Tonight.
Always enjoy those.
Yeah, it'll be fun. But Simons last year was just incredible. Like in the games that he was in and healthy, he just locked in. The 3 ball was falling. He's a scorer. Aaron, this season, like it's up for no one wants to really score the ball on our team. Simons should be averaging 27 a game right now. He's healthy. He's playing. He's 32 minutes a night right now, which is mainly because there's been some blowouts too. But like he's at 17.5 points a game. Like Simons could do that off the bench for a contending team in 20 minutes if he wanted to.
Yes.
He's starting for the Blazers and he's at 32 minutes a game. And we don't have anybody taking those shots from him. Like he can get any shot he wants anytime on our team. So that's what tells me. And then Aaron, the second indicator, and then you can chime in. His 3-point percentage, 30.2. And that was at like 27% last week when I did the episode. So it's gone up a little bit, but he is not a 30% 3-point shooter. So those are my indicators that just something's off. If he's not injured, it's something else. Yeah.
So my thoughts on that, all very good points. And the points per game, which I also pulled up before but I didn't even, that is actually a pretty glaring number, right? 17 points per game for him.
It's not a lot, man.
Low. That's what he's supposed to be bringing to the table, right? Obviously we know he has defensive deficiencies and he's not like a huge assist guy. Looking at it's 4.6 assists. So if he's not scoring, like what is he bringing in? And maybe there's a lot of things we could break down with that, right? Is it asking a little too much of him? Like, is he forcing up bad shots that is just, he's just not able to get the looks that he'd want? I think the ideal role for Simons on a good team is that 6-man scorer off the first guy off the bench, right? That's his ideal role because his skill set just matches up so well with that, right?
Yeah.
And so asking him to be the primary scorer maybe hurts him a little. I don't know. I'm speculating as a fan who just watches and is like, what? How can I account for this? I don't know.
Sure. I mean, that's why, like, and even in the off season, people talked about the Orlando Magic being a team like that he would fit really well with, because although he has the talent to start, and not saying the Magic have like done anything amazing, right? But like maybe you don't want to mess with your starting unit there, but bring him off the bench for a team like that needs a scoring punch, dude. He would be averaging 22 off the bench, hands down. And so I think you're right. For a title contending team, that was my take last season when we're looking at, Brogdon, Simons, Sharp, Scoot. We had these 4 guards. And it was like, what do we do? Well, we all knew Brogdon was going to get traded at some point. It just happened much, much later, but we knew that was going to happen. But the other one just seemed obvious. It was like Simons just isn't going to fit this team because his role is that 6-man is where his true powers would lie with a contending team. And so he feels like the guy that knows he's about to go. He is the most invested in Portland because he's been with us the longest. Like, he's our longest tenured Blazer, right? That happened the second Lillard got traded. It was Simons has been with us the longest, right? His whole career with us too. And so it's like, I think it's a heartbreak a little bit for him, knowing that I think the time is up. And I think that's why he's just not locked in right now.
Sure. That makes sense. That's a good point, Cory. I think, being with one team your whole career and seeing the shift that can definitely affect your game, and chemistry is important. It's an important part of building a team, and we got to keep that in mind going forward.
Yeah. Have you watched on Netflix The Comeback? It's about the Red Sox. It's like their story of that comeback against the Yankees when they were down 3-0.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it. I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Okay. So, we all know the story. You and I were alive during this, so it's very well documented. But there's a couple things that were like, oh, and it kind of goes through what was the inner workings of the team. And the part that I think is most fascinating, and it relates to the Blazers in one way, is the Celtics. The Red Sox had Nomar Garciaparra, their shortstop. And they weren't going to win with him because defensively he wasn't great. Offensively he was still good, but he just wasn't there. And then they tried to trade him in the offseason. They actually traded him, and then the league office told them they couldn't do it because they were trying to get Alex Rodriguez, and they couldn't restructure A-Rod's contract. So the trade was canceled. So this guy comes back into training camp knowing that they don't want him. And he just was like a shell of himself, which I probably would have been too. And although we haven't openly tried to trade Simons, I think he knows. And that's why the body language is off. His shooting percentages are off. And he's my vote for first Blazer out. And I think we just have to make the tough calls here because we have to build a contender, Aaron. We have to build a contender. I don't want to keep farting around with this. Trade the people and let's dive into a deep draft that's coming up, and then let's see what we have after that.
Yeah, and the question will be, are those deals available? Because there are a lot of teams who want to do the same thing, who don't want a guy on that timeline. They want the fresh start, build contender, let's tank. So we have to find the teams that, and there are still plenty that would want Simons, but what kind of assets are we going to get for him? I think it's always...
What about to the Spurs? I think Wembanyama.
I think the Spurs are interested.
He would be a good scorer next to Wemby. I think that could make sense. Like watching that Spurs game this a few days back.
The Spurs have shown that they're in no hurry to compete they're just taking their sweet time. They don't care that they got a once in a lifetime guy already. They're like, we'll be bad. Who cares?
Well, they have a bunch of draft capital. Maybe they just throw us a first rounder and somebody to make the make the money work.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
So I do want to touch on something that you brought up. It relates to Simons, but it's the stat that I was most interested in looking at this team, and that's minutes. The minutes on this team are, I think, going to be the thing that I'm going to be watching in the next couple of weeks to see what we're doing. Because while Simons and Grant are getting like the 30 plus minutes, I think Ayton, everyone else is in like the 20s. And it's just very hard to like have a consistent game and to grow as a player when you're swapping out a lot. We see this all the time in the NBA. And I think the one that brought this to my attention, I had Denny on my fantasy team, and his stats have declined. And I was like, what's going on? And I look, and he's like, went from 25 or so minutes. Now he's down to like 20, 19 the last couple games. I'm like, okay, why is he not getting run? I like Denny. I think if we let him play more, if those minutes went up, he might produce even better, and I know it's the problem with the roster right now, right? We have all these guys. We like these guys. We like Banton. We like, our young core players, but getting those guys consistent minutes is tough. Klingon, another one, only getting like 13 minutes a game. I know in your last episode, you were hyping up Klingon, and he needs minutes too, right? 13 or whatever it is. It's not gonna be enough if we're trying to grow a team.
Yeah,
those guys need minutes.
I want to see that chemistry, man. Like there was a play in the once Shaden came back. Once Shaden came back, some shuffling happened, and that partly why Denny is seeing less minutes. He's not even he didn't start last game either because of Shaden. But in the Spurs game, there was this play. It was one little pass, but like Klingon had the ball like on the 3-point line. On the right wing, made a dribble, like a hard dribble, and then Shaden cut to the hoop, and Klingon just quick decision, one hand bounce pass right to Shaden, wide open dunk. Like, like a Klingon passing out of not quite the high post, but like near the 3-point line, building that chemistry with Sharp. Like we need to see that. I don't care if we lose by 50. We need more of the minutes with the guys that are gonna ultimately we've invested into our future, and let's see how they mesh together.
And even like, I don't know what your thought is on this, but I was thinking about maybe you don't even like, you just kind of switch games between guys, right? Like, hey, like tonight we're running, Kamara, Denny, and Simons, right? But the next night, hey, you guys, we're going to have these guys be our 30-minute guys. Like maybe that needs to be the thing, just to like get them more time on the floor together, get in that rhythm.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea.
I would love to see that. It's probably not going to happen. I'm not the coach. I don't have any control, but if it was me, I might be thinking about that, because I just don't think you see a player's full potential when they're getting like 20 minutes. I just, the stats don't, there's something that happens when they're just on the floor. Like you get in a rhythm, your shooting gets better. You get, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
as people who've played basketball, we know, like,
if you're getting in the game, you're just your mindset is different. If you're like not sure if you're going to get 5 minutes or 30 minutes, it's hard to prep. Yeah, and I think really quick, you said you dropped Denny in a league. Am I in that one?
Yes.
Should I go pick him up?
No. I picked him up for Sharp, and then I was like, maybe not.
Maybe not. They had the right call. I think they're playing. I think the team is tight. They're tense. They can't get in a rhythm. You mentioned minutes. I'll go a little deeper in percentages. And we talked about how terrible Simons is shooting from 3 right now, 30%. Go down the list, man. Jeremy Grant, 33%. That's below his 3-point average, or his career average. Scoot Henderson, 27%, which he's not a great 3-point shooter, but that's still low. Advia, you talked about Denny, 17%. Denny shot high 30s last year. It was a career high, but 17. That's awful. Shaden, in a small sample size, so I get it. 7% from the 3-point line.
Yeah,
Aaron, you and I can shoot better than 7%. Delano, who I know takes some questionable threes, he's at 29%. Honestly, Tumani, and this probably proves my point, he's at 40%. And I think Tumani is the only one on the team right now that like has such confidence because he has a starting role. He knows he's made a leap. He's made a leap from last season to this season. And I think he doesn't care what's going on around him. He is just excited to be growing as a player. And so he's just free flowing, man. That 3-ball, his first 3 in the first game of the season, just stroked it. And it just looked great. And so he's confident. He's at 40%, Aaron. So I think, and the free throw percentages, we don't have to go through that, but it's not great. Outside of Simons, who's shooting 91%, everyone is in the 70s or lower, really, with a few exceptions. But like, I think they're tense. They don't have the right minutes. They don't know when they're in, when they're out. And I think that shows in their shooting percentages.
Yeah, it's a good point. Oh man, you brought up the Tumani thing. We haven't had a talk since the season started, but from that first game, that first like week of games, I watched a lot in that first week, and man, you could tell Tumani worked on his game. Every aspect of it. He looked smoother. His shot looked good. You could tell, like, from all the players over the summer, Tumani looked the most improved to me for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm really excited for Tumani. I think he's definitely for moving forward.
I think I was talking to, it might have been Steve DeWald about the trade, or it might have been with Connor, but like, we look back at the Dame trade and it's like, we get all this stuff back, and then like the throw in from Phoenix was like, well, you get Tumani Kamara. and I wonder if like 5 years from now, we're like, God, the Dame for Kamara trade was so smart, and it's like,
no, for sure. I think that he's proven to be possibly the most valuable piece of that trade. He definitely worked on his game. Loved seeing that. And
do you think right now, I have a lineup question for you. Do you think the proper line, like tonight against Minnesota in our opening NBA Cup game or for the midseason tournament, would you go? I don't think this would work. I don't know. I should have thought this through before I said it. Would you go? Because you probably go Simons, Sharp, Tumani as your 1, 2, 3, even though I would trade Simons and start Scoot just to see what we have. But anyway, Simons, Sharp, Tumani, and then that Grant Ayton, you almost have to play Grant Ayton. But could there be a world where Denny is either your starting 4, or does he come off the bench as a 4 instead of a 3? Is that where he fits? Because where does Denny fit into this?
He has the size to be. Is he? How tall is he?
I think Denny is. I'm just going to take a wild guess. He's probably 6'9", weighs 240. Yeah,
he's more like a 2 or a 3 than a 4, but
he's listed at 6'9". Isn't Jeremy like 6'9"? Jeremy on ESPN is listed at 6'7", which I think that might be a little short. But no, I think Denny. I think his role could be
a 4. I mean, maybe on this team it is, because that's definitely the spot where there's the most minutes to grab, is that 4 spot.
Yeah, he seems off. Like, as great and comfortable as Kamara is, I think Denny, and he's trying to find his way on this team, right? Being an acquisition this offseason. But he feels lost right now to me too. Like he's just trying to figure it out, and now he's off the bench. So now that's a different thing than he was even, 9 games in. So I don't know. I know you were probably paying more attention to him with your fantasy team and stuff, but like
I think he started pretty good. Like I liked what I saw early on. I thought he was playing well, but this last week, I mean, I didn't watch a lot of Blazers this last week. Just, took a break. It looks like it was a good week to maybe take a break.
It might have been a good week to take a break. If the 3-point percentage can get up, he has to be a 35% three-point shooter. He just has to be. If he cannot be a 3-point shooter, Advia can't be a difference maker on any NBA team. And that's why he was so good last year in Washington, was that he was hitting the 3-ball. And so 17%, that's just unacceptable, from a guy that can do better. So,
maybe it's a wake-up call thing, the coach benching him, or obviously it had to do with Sharp coming back. But
it had to do with Sharp coming back, and you have to make room for Sharp. But I think the weird thing, and then I'll toss it back to you for the next part. But like, I think Chauncey. I blame Chauncey. I blame that he is rolling out lineups to still try to kind of win. I think he was doing that in the first like 9 games. Now that Sharp's back, you need to get Sharp in the starting lineup. But just the minute splits, you already referenced it. Kind of they're weird, and I think it's because Chauncey's like still trying to win games, and I think that's not what we're trying to do. So we need to move aside Chauncey, and let's develop this season. We can't. Let's not try to win games. I'm sorry, as bad as that sounds, and that's what he wants to do because he's coaching for his next job.
Yeah, I think the important thing to keep in mind. Well, one, these lineups are working at producing losses, so let's give him a little credit. he's doing his job.
True. Good point.
We don't want him to be too successful, but I think there is an important thing. I wanted to bring this up in listening to some of your earlier shows when this season was starting, and you guys were all on the let's tank. And I wanted to stick a voice out for the hey, we don't want to tank. Fans out there, I just want, you don't want your players to lose the sting of losing, right? You don't want them to just get comfortable. If something happens to you over and over and over and over again, you no longer feel the pain of it. And that was kind of, I think, what Coach Billups was trying to say that Memphis loss, which was pretty embarrassing, is like, these guys better care because this is not what should be happening, right? A team that is down that many players, you should think that we're competing with that team at least.
Yeah.
If it's a loss. And it was just an effort thing, right? So you
100%.
don't want your players to lose the sting of losing because that can be a cultural thing that is much harder to come back from, irregardless of bringing, talent in the draft. So there is a fine line there. I think we have to keep that in mind. Like, yes, we want to lose games, but we want to be competitive. That beginning of the season where we like lost in the last second shot to New Orleans, like that's the games I want. I want those games where we're taking a shot and we miss it. That's fine. We don't want to make those shots this year, but we want to be taking those shots.
I know. I love it. I think the true barometer of a true fan, and I'll say this from my perspective because I do want to lose. I want to lose, Aaron. If we could lose 70 more games, I would say yes. But I will say we played Phoenix and we were down against that team. And that was Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Booker, Nurkic, like our first Nurkic game and of the season. And we were coming back in the fourth quarter, like 3-3. And I was just getting so into it. I forgot. And there was a play. We stole the ball. This was like 10 seconds left. We're down 4, and Denny and it might have been Tuma, I forget. They trapped Durant and stole the ball from him, and Advia had the layup, and I was like, oh, like we're gonna cut it to 2, and he missed it. The bunny.
Oh, I saw that.
Coming all the way back, we steal the ball, and he looked dejected, like because then they get the rebound, we foul them, and now it's over. And I was dejected. He was dejected. We all, and for a minute there, I forgot that we were trying to lose.
Right. That's right.
And so I'm with you. You don't want to just get obliterated, especially by a Memphis team that had no business winning that game by 40, and they were up by so much. So the close losses, because you're invested in that, and you want the players to be invested. I'm with you. I hear that.
I think what we want to see, we still want to see effort in losses, right? That's what we want to see. We want to make sure that our culture doesn't completely shatter. We don't want to shatter the culture. I think the only way to do this is to trade Simon. So I want to see Simons traded, and I want to see Scoot and Sharp and Tumani, those 3, start the rest of the year, provided that they're healthy. I want to see it, Aaron. I want to see it. We need to see it. We cannot have this guy come off the bench. Scoot Henderson is not a bench player with us. He can't. We didn't draft him to be that. And so if he's a bench guy, then let's just trade him because he's never gonna. He will get scrutinized in Portland as like what could have been.
So trade him to another team then and let him be a bench person for some other team. He either starts and he's amazing, or he starts and he's awful. And then but he cannot be, he's not a bench guy. Scoot Henderson, if you watch how he carries himself, Aaron, he thinks he's Michael Jordan on the court. Like, he is so borderline arrogant. He's confident, but he's not a bench guy. So what are we doing? That to me is still mind-boggling. Get the man on this, get the man starting, and just see. I don't care if he's behind. Like, let's just get him out there.
I'm totally for the Scoot to the starting lineup. I think that would be, I mean, that's like we said, everything we've been saying, development is the name of the game this year. I wonder if there is a little bit of the coach saying, like, maybe this is good for his development coming off the bench, but like, I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine what's going through the mind of the people in charge.
Yeah.
I do. Okay. So I did have some Scoot thoughts. I know we're short on time. I know there's too much to go through. There's too many.
Let's do this. Hit me with a Scoot thought. Ask your trivia question, because I know you got one. We'll wrap up, and then we'll have you back, and we'll finish some more.
All right, sounds good.
More thoughts. Okay.
I'll make it a short one. Two things on Scoot that I've noticed. One, he is really good at making that first move. He can shake the first defender anytime he wants to, it seems like.
Yep.
The decision afterwards is usually wrong. And it's like you can just see it. You're like, oh no, why? But you could have passed it there, or you could have
totally
taken the shot there. So there's a lot of potential still. So if fans who are watching, like, just look for that. He's making that first move, and if he could just figure out the next move, we're in good shape. Second thing I noticed, this is just random.
Okay.
I saw Simons give some lob passes. I was like, and Scoot gave those lob passes. Scoot's a good lob passer. Let's add that. That's a positive for Scoot. He is a good lob passer. If he can work out the rest of his game, and him and Klingon are throwing lobs to each other, I think that's going to be good.
Yeah. That was like probably one of my top 5 things that I saw last year that I was excited for this year was the Scoot to Ayton lobs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had some good chemistry there. And I think at that point I was still like, oh, keep Ayton. There's something here with Ayton. Because of Klingon now, I'm like, Ayton, let's go. Let's get something for Ayton. But no, the Scoot lobs, he has it, man. He has the vision. He has the speed. Mm-hmm. He's almost too fast. He actually is probably too fast, and he needs to take it down a notch. And I think if he does that, he'll see the openings, because it's like a quarterback, Aaron. Like, there's quarterbacks that almost throw the ball too hard, and your wide receivers can't catch it, because it's just like, dude, like, give me a chance. Like, but you want to zip it through the corners and the safeties into tight windows, so you get that makes sense. And to do that, you have to do it fast, but you can't do it too fast or it's uncatchable. So it's that sweet spot, and Scoot has to find the sweet spot with his own ability to get to the hoop and finish, find open teammates. It's there. I want to see the darn guy play 35 minutes a game. Like, just
to see what happens.
Play him.
Like, let's just let him make the mistakes. That's the whole point.
So just let's get him minutes. Let's see if he messes up. If he does, he does. If he doesn't, we have something. If he does mess up, then we can figure it out from there.
Yes, totally.
Let's Scoot some minutes.
It's the point of the season, is to let him make mistakes and grow.
I was thinking that's the reason for the season. Yes, that's not a
reason for the season. That's better line.
That's better line.
Professional.
Okay, Aaron, wrap us up with your trivia question.
All right, I had a couple that I was thinking about. I'm going to go with the rookie-centric one. If you had to guess, who leads the NBA rookies in PER, player efficiency rating?
Who leads current rookies this season?
Yes.
I am going to go with Alex Sarr, the number 2 pick to the Washington Wizards.
Alex Sarr is ahead in a lot of other statistics. PER is not one of them.
Dang it. Not efficient.
It is Zach Edey is the current leader.
Oh, yeah, Zach Edey. Okay.
Yeah. But guess where our boy sits?
He is Klingon is third.
Very close. He was fourth last night. Apparently, he's shifted down to 5 as of today. When I looked it up before the podcast.
Well, okay.
But
still,
he is up
still
there.
top 5.
Yeah, I mean, short minutes, but still, like, you know, he is bringing something to the floor when he plays.
Edie comes off the bench now for Memphis, right? He was starting. Yeah. Now they've gotten some of their guys back. So it was interesting to see that matchup. I know that we got slaughtered, but it's like I think we drafted the better player. Like in that game, I wish I could just have been a non-biased observer and seen those two go at it. I would have picked Klingon. I would have picked Donovan. I just would have.
He's got a more elite skill, and it's just a matter of getting him on the right team. Yeah, we'll. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I like it.
So excited for the season. We got lots more games to play.
So good.
It's gonna be.
I'm pumped. I really am.
I am too.
It would be fun. It would be fun if, and we'll see tonight. But like, if we could win the in-season tournament, claim that as a victory, and then say we're good, we're going to lose the rest of the season. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I think that'd be really cool. Sign me up. Let's go.
Last season was like rigged, so LeBron was going to win. Like it was rigged that the Lakers were going to win that. This season, I think it'd be fun if a bottom team got really pumped and like went crazy.
Yeah.
So, we'll see how it goes. But Aaron Brown, the doctor, thank you for coming on the Rip City Roundtable podcast and joining me at the Roundtable. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yes. Oh, I appreciate you coming. And hey, last thing to wrap up. I don't know if you saw in the news, Brian Wheeler, the old Trailblazers radio guy, was when we were in school growing up. He was our guy, Wheels. He passed away, about a week ago or this week. And he coined the phrase, it's a great day to be a Blazer, which is how we end this podcast. Yeah. And, he said it all the time. And, used to go to church with Wheels. I would see him. He didn't really know who I was, but I would wave at him and he would wave at me. So anyway, I just want to say, family, I just, he's a legend, and it was sad to see him go, but to do him the honor, as we always do at the end of this podcast, Aaron, it's a great day.
Great day
to be a Blazer.
We are Rogue Media Sports.